phone.
So why is marriage important to you?
Very good question. I'll go first, I guess. um, Marriage is important to me because one is biblical. We were not meant to do life alone in the sense of now some this might be a small population out there that might be called to be single forever. I'm not a part of that population. So okay, so marriage is important to me because I desire to yeah, do life with somebody, grow with someone, do ministry with someone, and uh produce, you know. The Bible says, um, what was I about to say? I just lost my train of thought, but pretty much produce, multiply, and I think you're stronger in numbers, you know what I mean? And so even in the sense of marriage, like we do it better together. And so there are things that two people when they come together as one can accomplish so much more than if it's just you. You know, don't get me wrong, we can accomplish a lot as women, and we handle our business for sure, being mothers and in our careers or jobs, and just our everyday life and everything. But it means everything to me. I love family. I love the idea of family and growing with somebody, and I don't want to be single. so, so, um, but yeah, just being able to do life ministry, ministry with somebody, to love somebody, and to be loved, as Christ loved the church, and yeah, just really experience that is it's important.
That's good. So I'll kind of piggyback off of what she said, where she pretty much covered the multitude of all the reasons and desires that I have to be married. I feel like God has placed it in me to be a wife. As I spoke of last time, I don't feel like every woman that wants to be a wife is a wife, and every husband that wants to be a husband is a husband. So I definitely feel like He has placed it inside of me to be a wife. So it is a desire of mine. I feel like marriage is a ministry. I feel like that is something that God gave to His people. So I want to be able to build with someone and like come together with someone, make a family with someone, just basically touching on what she's already spoken about. So those are my same desires. It's very important. A lot of times they say, they want to be married because they don't want to be in sin. So we're going to touch on, that part is, you know, you can have,
And, and
don't understand why you do. You want to produce kids. You want to, build a family together. You want to come and commune with each other. And, so it's a beautiful thing. I think marriage is very beautiful. I don't want to be single. I want to be a wife. I desire to be a wife. So, yeah, that's why it's important to me.
And what about you, Terry? Why was marriage important to you?
I mean, the ladies basically said it all. It was just something that was a goal. It was just something that I saw for myself, and I was just like, once I find the right person, hopefully that's the end goal with that person. And so I don't know. I always wanted to be a wife. So here I am.
So how would someone know that they're ready for marriage? Like, what kind of steps would they have to take? What kind of healing process would they have to go through? How would they know that, okay, it's time for me to get married?
mm,
That everything should be done in God's timing. So I feel like when you are led by the Holy Spirit, when you allow God to lead you and direct you, then you will know. God will confirm the time. He will say, this is it. For me personally, as I spoke on last part one, I'm big on allowing the man to lead as long as he is led by God. So I feel like personally, when he is led, then he knows the time that is right. And when he knows the time it is right, then he will pursue that. But just outside of the spiritual, natural, just go back into natural. I feel like you're ready once you are completely healed, and we have Miss Therapist over here that knows that much more than I do. I didn't go to school for that. But when you are completely healed, because you don't want to bring any old baggage, hurt, pain, anything that's toxic, anything into your new relationship. So once you have been completely healed, I feel like not just hurt, but when you've forgiven, I think forgiveness is a big part of that too. So you don't hold any type of resentment, because everything that is in you and all the baggage that you carry is going to go into your relationship. So I think that is an important part. I feel like, again, we're touching on things of the natural. So when you become financially prepared, when you're spiritually prepared, mentally, emotionally, all of those tie in together. So once you have accomplished making sure that you are mentally prepared for it, physically prepared for it, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and the man of God leads you and say, hey, this is the time that, then I feel like that's when you'll know.
That's good. I think it looks different for different people. As a single individual, like, as a single woman, there are things that, I know, Rachel, you said the man of God will be led and be like, okay, you're my wife, and things of that nature. I do believe that as women of God, that we are to position ourselves, right, to be married, so that one, or so we even know the right time. Because honestly, it was it was a moment or a few where, even if the right one came, I would have rejected him. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't ready. And when I say I wasn't ready, I had my wall was built real high. Like nothing was going in and nothing was going out and stuff. Like vulnerability was not something that I embraced. And so it's hard to be love or receive love, right, in the manner that God desires, and even in the manner that that person would need or I would need. It's hard to even do love and be loved. I would have just made his job so much harder. You know what I mean? Very challenging. It would have been challenging for him to love me. And I think a lot of times, because people don't do the work or don't go through a healing process from whether it's past relationships or childhood trauma or church hurt, whatever it is, whatever it looks like, they don't go through the process of healing because, one, they might not know that is that bad or it needs to be worked on, right? Sometimes we just don't know, and or we think it's not that big of a deal because, hey, this is just my life, right? And so but it makes it challenging when the right people, and not even just the man, but even just the right people, like that want to be friends and that want to be even associates, sometimes just want to be there for you. It makes it hard for them to do that because you've built a shield around you, right, due to past hurts that you haven't dealt with and everything. And so I know now that I'm ready to be a wife, right? Not that I wasn't ready per se to be a wife, but I'm ready to receive the duties of a wife, in the sense that I can be love, I can receive love, right? I won't make his job difficult. I won't make him being a husband difficult, emotionally and mentally, because I know how to communicate better, right? I know what I need. I know what I want, and I can communicate those things, and I don't have to make him assume or try to tear down all these walls. A lot of times, we make people pay the debt that they did, for other people's mishandling you, but the people that come, like, no, you got to pay that debt, without even realizing it. And it's not fair, right? And so if the right one would have came then and would have been like, God said this, I probably would have been like, nah, no, he didn't. No, he didn't, um, because emotionally and mentally, I wasn't ready. I was ready to have the look of marriage and the family, right? Maybe at some point, but not the weight and the duties and responsibility that comes with loving a man, right? And not because I didn't want to, but because I hadn't dealt with my issues, because I didn't love myself. You know what I mean? And so it's hard to love someone else when you don't even know who you are and you don't love yourself. You can try, but whether it's effective or not is a different story. So I said all that to say doing the work. I think you'll know when you're able to be vulnerable. And not vulnerable in a sense of being too needy and too attached, but having boundaries and being able to communicate, being able to love unconditionally, and a lot of times you can even see this in other relationships that you have. If you lack boundaries in your friendships, if you lack boundaries with your parents or your children or whoever in your life, you're gonna probably lack boundaries with your husband. You know what I mean? And so the healthier you see other relationships become around you that you're in, then you'll be like, okay, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And everything. And I know we had yeah, I'm not gonna jump ahead to other questions, but yeah, so to sum that up.
What about you, Terry? What made you think like, okay, I am finally ready for marriage? What got you to that point?
Like, I don't know if I have anything after the other two ladies just broke it down. Um, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think it was definitely meeting the right person because I dated around and none of those other people I was just like, oh yeah, I think I want to marry this person or but I think it had a lot to do with the right person. Like his mindset was different. He treated me different. He treated me like a woman should be treated and then we talked about marriage. Like I never talked about marriage with anybody else. And then we talked about marriage and like where we saw ourselves in the future and he wanted me in the future and I knew I wanted him in the future and it kind of just developed from there. So I think it definitely had to do with knowing that he was the right person and then like the things that he had to say. So, but I also agree with everything else the other lady said. Like I had to feel like I was also in the right place. And by then, like I knew that I was in the right state of mind to say, okay, yeah, I'm ready to be somebody's wife. And he knew he was ready to be somebody's husband. And so we moved forward.
Like hearing you ladies talk and make me look back in my own life and I'm just like, okay, I was at that point where I was broken and hurt and I had good men try to enter my life and I would push them away or hurt them in the process or whatever the case is. And so like I never understood when women were like, oh, there's no good men left. I'm like, no, because plenty tried to come my way, I just didn't want them. But it's just like how you have to be in that right mindset. You have to be healed. You have to be ready to accept them. So what each of you ladies said, it plays a huge part in being ready for marriage and actually being able to recognize that man that is for you.
Mhm.
So speaking of that man, What are these qualities? What shows you that, okay, he's marriage material? He's the man for me. What kind of qualities were you looking for, or what kind of qualities did your husband present? What was it that actually like caught your eye?
For me, my husband does this thing where if we're walking on the street, he never lets me walk on the outside of the street. I've never had a man do that for me, ever. And I was like, why do you keep pushing me on the inside of the street? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, why can't I walk on the outside of the street? And he's like, because if a car is coming or something happens, like, I need to get hit first. I was like, oh my gosh, like, he's so sweet. I know, I never had anybody do anything like that. So that always stands out. He still does that. Sometimes I purposely will walk on the outside to see what he'll do. And no matter where we are, parking lot, sidewalk, no matter what, he always moves me to the inside of the street. So once I saw that, I was like, oh, I have a real gentleman. Like, I didn't know this kind existed. But he opens my doors. Like, I'm like, oh. He puts gas in my car. Like, yeah, I think this is the one. I think I need to put a ring on it because he's locking it down. So I think for me, it was a lot of those type of things. And then even when like there's an issue, he always keeps it real with me, no matter what. Even if it's something where he knows that it may hurt my feelings, he still keeps it real. Like, it's in a good way. That, like, at the time I'm angry and I'm like, why are you saying this? Like, I don't want to hear it. But then later when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, he was right. Like, I'm not gonna go back and tell him that right now, but he was right. So whatever. Like, he always keeps it 100. So those are certain qualities that I definitely liked about him.
I think for me, one of the things that was different from me versus my past relationships was my man now. He would always, like, no matter what, he would always pray. If he felt like, there was some type of a disconnect, or, he just felt led to pray, he would just pray. Like, he would just stop everything. Father God, and I'm like, wait, hold on. Wait, okay, bow my head, okay. But in the midst of whatever is going on, if he felt led to pray, if it was something that wasn't connecting right with us, before we even, have to communicate, he'll say, okay, let's pray about this. And then we'll come together and we will talk. And I'm like, wow, what? Wow. And so for me, it was just really to put it all, to sum it all up. It was his strive that he strived, like, every day, it still does every day, to love me like Christ loves the church. Like, every morning now, I just told him the other day, like, every morning he literally calls my phone before I have to go to work, and he's like, okay, I know you're getting ready to go into a meeting, or you have to go to work, let's pray. I'm gonna pray for you today. So that was one thing that I was like, what, this man prays for me? Another thing that really took me up under, y'all, because I'm not used to it. As y'all know, I have a kid already, so I've already experienced, and I know we haven't gotten there yet, but sex before marriage. And, I've experienced guys just wanting to date me to get, guys, that's what they want. That's how they want. But this one here, he was like, no, we're waiting. He said, because while I'm with you, I want to honor God. I want us to have a godly relationship, godly dating, courtship, godly courtship, because I know that you're the one that I want to be with, I want to marry. And the only way that I feel like God can bless us in this relationship is if we honor him and we are obedient. So I was like, what you said? What was that? That's what he said. I was like, hold on now, but wait a minute. And so it was so crazy, because at the beginning of our relationship, I literally thought he was just wearing a mask. I was like, okay, we're going to see how long this is going to last. No, it's been a whole year and a half, almost 2 years later, y'all. And this man is still the same man I met like 2 years ago. So that's what really caught my attention with him, is that, he didn't want to just treat me any old kind of way. He didn't want to mishandle me. He didn't want me to feel like I was being used or taken advantage of. He wanted to treat me right. He wanted to do things right so that in our courtship we were honoring God, so then God will honor us. So that's what really made me be like, okay, he's the type of man that I would want to marry. He's the husband material. Because not even just that, even now we're not married, but he's gonna make sure we're taken care of. He comes over, if he see that I may not have any groceries in the house, he not telling me nothing. He been went to the grocery store and he bringing back bags of groceries. He like, well, I noticed y'all didn't really have too much, so I went on ahead and got some groceries for y'all. Baby, you good? You need anything? Are you straight? Rylan, my son's name is Rylan. Y'all good? You need anything? Well, I'm gonna pick him up. I'm finna go take him to get a haircut. I mean, he just takes care of everything. I don't have to ask. I could think it, and he already has it. And I'm like, now how did you know that I needed that? He's like, I'm observant, like I'm attentive of you. Like I don't want you to have to struggle in this area. I don't want, and that's just not even like materialistic. Like that's, spiritually, I don't want to see you falling in this area. So I see you falling. We need to do this. We need to be in our word. We need to pray more. Okay, we're going to have a Bible study every week because I see that you're following. So, no, we're not going to do that. Like, he makes sure that I am prepared to be where I need to be, even now. And so when I knew that he didn't want to see me slip with my walk with Christ, I was like, you my helpmate. You my husband. You are my husband. And that's literally how it happened. And I was like, okay. So ever since then, I'm like, I'm convinced, Lord, you gave me confirmation, but if you didn't, that was the confirmation when you sent him handled me. I was like, that was it. I never had that. Never had a man to say, oh, we gonna go to heaven together. So if I see you falling here, I'm gonna catch you right here. If I see you falling financially, mentally, you good? You all right? You talk about something? He's always there no matter what. And the fact that he like literally mirrors Christ so well, I'm like, it's his goal to like mirror Christ and to be as Christ-like as he can. So that's what really drew my attention. I was like, yeah, that's my husband. That's my husband, y'all.
Yes, all that. That is so beautiful. I mean, y'all summed it up. You and Terrie, y'all pretty much summed that up. Yes, definitely committed and honors God, not just with words, but in action. Yes, 1,000, a million times. And yeah, knows what he wants. Very driven, taking initiative. I mean, yeah. That's
it.
That's
has goals and beautiful. And he's a protector, a provider.
Yes.
Oh, now. Oh. Look, I got to mine now. He got it all. I'm like, what?
Yes.
You fit, you educated. He got his bachelor's in business, so he's he's educated. He cooks, he sings, he does ministry. I'm like, goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I want better. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take up your time. I'm sorry.
You better brag on what God has blessed you with, okay? Come on now. And I think I'm glad you are saying that, Rachael, because I think a lot of women settle because they don't believe those type of men are still out there. And so I think it's great that you're able to say this, on the podcast, and you should continue to share, because people need to know, like, no, it's okay to have a standard, right? And because you're waiting and your wait is not going to be in vain, okay? There are still men that love God, that honor God, and in doing so, everything, seek ye first the kingdom of God. If he's doing that, everything else is coming, okay? Like you said, the protection, the provision, everything else is going to be aligned with that. And so, yeah, that's beautiful. So thank you for sharing. I just got so excited.
Before I had mine now, I was just in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I am done. I ain't doing it no more. Because as y'all know, I've already been married, so I've been through the road of, marriage and then divorce, and then after that, getting in a situationship, and that didn't work out. And I was just like, you know what? I can't. I just can't do it. And I said, I'm not doing it no more. I'm done. And God was like, hold on, just hold on, give me a little bit of time. I was like, okay, yeah, okay. And then it came, and I was like, wow, it's one of y'all out here. You are a unicorn, sir. Do you know that? Like, you are a whole unicorn out here. Like, you're so rare. And
Yeah.
I had no, like, the type of man he is, I didn't know. Like,
Yeah.
I was thinking that, like, no matter what relationship I was gonna be in, I was just gonna end up settling. Like, I bet they all bad. I might as well just pick the best bad one type, mentality. That's what I had. I just better pick the best one I can find, I guess. That was my mentality. And so now, yeah, I still get emotional. It's been almost 2 years, and I still get emotional because I'm like, God, you blessed me with that. Like, he could have been with anybody, but you saved him from me.
Come on.
Yeah, out there. Like, I'm a witness. They are out there. You just
Yes.
timing, preparation. God is taking you through a season. It's a season. Singleness is, it's a blessing because I'm sorry, I'm not gonna preach on today, but I gotta say, singleness is a blessing because in that time, God is preparing not just you but your spouse for each other. So it's a beautiful thing. Like, singleness, at a season, it can be beautiful because that's your time to get close to God. That's His time to work on you and work on your spouse. And when it's ready, when the time is right, boom. And it's so unexpected. Like, it's like, goodness gracious. So yeah, it's so important to wait. It's so important to, in your singleness, get prepared, be ready, be ye ready. You know what I'm saying? And get understanding, and all you're getting, get your understanding. Because in that time of singleness, you'll really start to find yourself more. You'll get to really know what you like more, what you don't like. And that'll help you out when you're going through, the dating season. And it's going to help you to not just go for anything. Because that's what I did. I wasn't even trying to be prepared or wait, hold on to nothing. And I went for anything and got married and went down the road of brokenness, confusion, all kind of stuff, just turmoil, just craziness. So, it is very important. Now, I'm glad that I was able to get out that situation, and God was like, okay, here's what I have for you if you would have waited. If you just would have waited on me, here's what I have for you. But you're trying to do things on your own because you're trying to satisfy your flesh. And so this is, and he gives us free will. So we can't be, God, why you allow? He gave us free will. So that's why it's important. Be obedient, seek God, be patient, and when it's your time, I'm telling y'all, they is out there. They out there. I met some others, I'm like, dang, I ain't found a home girl for you. Cause boy, I tell you, they out there. So it's just important to wait, be patient. It's some unicorns left, y'all. They not all the same. But is you ready up in here to see, like Kayla was saying, she had an opportunity where she had met some good men that really wanted to pursue her, but she wasn't together. So that's important. During your singleness, get yourself together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think one of the most beautiful things as well is that God doesn't even just give you what you think you want, but He gives you what you need, and because a lot of times we don't even know what we need fully, we'd be like, okay, this will be helpful, but we don't fully know what we need, especially for the seasons to come in our life, for the chapters ahead. And so but yeah, when we wait, He gives us not only some of what we want, right? Because everything we want ain't good, but He gives us what we need. And so I think that's very beautiful.
That's right. That's right. You don't always come in the package that you
I love
want.
how y'all giving a single lady hope.
What you say, Kayla? I'm sorry to hear
Y'all
you.
giving a single lady hope.
Yes.
So, like, y'all mentioned some things that, like, sparked a question. So, y'all talking about having men that's chivalrous and do all this stuff for you. But we have some of us independent single Black women who had to do everything on our own all this time. How do we, like, unlearn some things? Or what are some things that we might need to really set us?
I think it's a process. Like, I am still that person. It's like my guy. I'm stop calling him my guy, but Josiah is still like dealing with that with me because he'll try to, just like I was telling you all the things that he wants to do, and I'm like, no. And he's like, girl, let me love on you. Let me love you in this way. And I'm like, no. He gets so mad because I'll need something. I want to ask him. I'm figure out a way to do it myself. He hates it. He hates it. He hates it. Like, why don't you just ask? And I'm like, I'm used to doing everything on my own. I'm used to figuring out a way to do it. I'm gonna get it done regardless of if I get help or not. So it's been a process. I think that the right guy will help you get out of your ways in that area because, regardless of how independent you are, he's gonna do. And he's not gonna even ask you, he's just gonna do it. And then once you start to build a trust, because that's an important factor in getting out of that way is building trust and comfort, I think it'll become easier to be able to say, hey, I'm not going to try to do everything on my own. I'm going to allow this man to come in and love on me and treat me like a woman's supposed to be treated, handle me like I'm supposed to be handled, take care of me, So I just think it's a process, but I just think once you build that trust and that, become more comfortable and understanding that, it's okay, he got you, he got this, and he wants to do it out of a pure and genuine heart, it'll become much easy.
Absolutely. Totally agree with all that. That's good.
Sometimes there's still certain things I have a hard time letting him do versus me doing on my own because I don't know, like sometimes we're just taught to be so independent. So there's certain things where I'm just like, oh, I got it, don't worry. And he's like, no, I got it. And we go back and forth about it sometimes, but I try to, step back and say, because sometimes I'll say, well, I used to do it by myself before I had a man and before I got married. And he's like, well, you're not single no more. Let that go. So there's some things, but it's just about for me being patient and just stepping back and saying, okay, you got it.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
That stepping back part, that's the hard part. I'm still dealing with. I'm like, okay, let this man. And again, it's only been 2 years. I'm like, nope, I don't ask. He's like, why do you not? So it's still a process. It just takes a while. Like maybe after a year or two that we married. I don't know, Terrie. I don't know how long you've been married. That you and you're still dealing with that. The independent mindset. But I'm thinking probably once I get married, and probably a year or two after that, I'll be all right. But
we've been married 2 years, and yeah, it still takes some time.
I have a question for you, ladies. So being that I know Rachael, this you was married before. Do you think a woman should get married younger versus older? Meaning in early 20s versus maybe 30 plus. Which do you feel is beneficial for the woman?
I think it depends on the maturity of the woman, where her mindset is, how emotionally stable she is, and emotionally available she is. I don't think that there's a particular age, because I do know of couples now who got married in their early 20s and they've been years married and they've just been happy and it's been great. But I feel like even after women are 30, 32, 33, they are still not ready. They are still not ready. Mentally, they're not there yet. Emotionally, they're not there yet. So spiritually, they're not there yet. So I really don't think that there is a particular age limit, or I think it just depends on the season that woman is in, if she's able and willing to accept a man to come in and take her as his wife. So it could be early 20s or it could be late 30s. I think it depends on the woman. I feel like a woman should definitely, whenever that time is, she should definitely take that time out and make sure, because I was about 25, I think, when I got married. So I was in my mid 20s, and I felt like I was ready then, but I just had the wrong, the wrong person. So that plays a factor in that, as well as, again, making sure that you have that right person. If you have that right person who God has for you, it's for you. I don't feel like it's really no timing on it. When God has sent you that person and God has ordained that union, then that's on God's timing.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's definitely on maturity. I don't think there's an age limit per se, because like she said, I have friends that are very young and they're married, and then I have friends that waited a little longer until they were a little older and they got married, and everybody seems to be doing good from what I can see from the outside looking in. Everybody seems to be happy. Um, so I don't think there's necessarily an age range. I think it just depends on the maturity of both the man and the woman, because a woman could think she's ready, but the man, he's not in that right state of mind and he's not mature enough, and they do get married, then it may not work out based off of him not being mature enough to handle that big of a commitment.
That's
Because
it.
I've definitely seen where a man will get married because that's what the woman wants. That may not be what he wants, but to make her happy, he gets married, and then it doesn't work out because he wasn't mentally prepared for that type of commitment. She said, I want to get married. He said, okay, and they got married, but he didn't know the full intent and the entails of what a marriage is, and then things don't work out. So it just depends on the maturity level.
Who said that, Terrie?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I think the bottom line bar is like covering up some mouths. So I'm like, who is that talking?
Oh, sorry.
That's I really agree with you on that, because a lot of times men are just not. I think a lot of times, and I'm not gonna just put this on men, women too, like don't understand what marriage really is. And because we're spiritually inclined, we're just taught of what marriage is, and we go based on what the Bible says marriage is, and so we have a different understanding. So I think that's how it was for me versus my ex-husband. To me, marriage is sacred. Like it's sacred. It's something that God has given to us. Is when two flesh become one. We are in union. We're in covenant with each other, and it's something that is so serious. But to somebody who doesn't understand Bible, or who doesn't follow Christ, or who is not is not spiritual, they're carnal minded. So in their head, it's just like, oh, we're just signing a piece of paper. We're supposed to live together for the rest of our life. I just have to be with you and be my wife, and I'm gonna be your husband for the rest of our life. But
Yeah.
not the. Mm-mm.
And I think even in that instance, some people even do understand maybe biblical perspective and what the Bible say, even just a little bit of how marriage is supposed to be. But the way that human beings learn is not necessarily really what we read out of a book, is
Right.
what we see. And so what we are experiencing now and have been for years is generational patterns. And so the way my parents did marriage is probably the way that I will do marriage if I don't identify that these things are an issue and break that cycle. Right. So it'll probably, and this is not for everyone, right? So this is just generally speaking, someone that grows up in a two-parent home where they've seen their parents work through things, whether it was healthy or unhealthy, are more likely to stay in a marriage. You know what I mean? And stay committed per se to the covenant, versus someone who's been in a home where there's been multiple marriages, or just someone walked away. They've been taught that walking away is okay. So it's really we gain our perspective based off what we see growing up. You know what I mean? And so not that anybody wants to be divorced, but it's just generational patterns that continue. You know, we just fall into it until you identify, like, this is an issue. You know, this is a pattern within my family, my bloodline. And if you don't identify it, you most likely will repeat it, you know, and stuff. Even if you do want to do it the right way, or you do want to only be married once, a lot of times people just find themselves repeating generational patterns. And that's just not even just marriage, it's the way you communicate, because all these factors impact marriage and relationships, you know. And so yeah, like it's important to identify those patterns, so that you can do something different.
That's good,
And
Cherrilleye. That was good. Come on, therapist.
it's so funny.
So what do you ladies think about gender roles? Are you like more traditionalist? Are you kind of, just adapt and go with the flow? Or like, what are your thoughts on?
Gender.
My husband cooks.
You're what? Hey,
I
Terrie?
said my husband cooks.
Amen.
Um, and that's because he wants to. I don't mind cooking. His cooking is better than mine, so he goes in the kitchen and he cooks. And we take turns. Like if he cooks Monday and Tuesday, I'll cook Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we go out to dinner. Same thing with the laundry. I don't let him do the laundry because the clothes are never clean. So I do the laundry, he folds the clothes. And we do it that way. But there's no like, oh, you the woman, you gotta stay in the house and cook. And when I come home from work, I want to eat. I want my dinner on the table. Like there's none of that over here.
Mhm.
Like I do what I do, and you do what you do, and we make it work. That's what works for us. That may not work for everybody, but personally for us, that's just
Teamwork.
what works.
Yeah, I think people, every family, every couple has to figure out what works for them. Gender roles, you know, it started long time ago, where life looked totally different, you know. And it might have made sense then, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, if my husband, when I get married, want to pay all the bills, by all means, boo. Whatever you want to do as the head of this house, you know, if you want to pay the bills, go for it, okay? I'm not arguing with that. That will work, okay? But so, you know, but every home looks different, you know. There are a lot of at home dads. Yeah, you know, if it works for it works for them. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Um, it it just looks different. I've known families where well, most of the families I know, men are very they take pride in being the provider. You know what I mean? I think it's very attractive for a man to be the provider, okay? They take pride in that. And so gender roles in that aspect, um, I might be traditional in certain aspects, you know, like I'm down for that, you know, but I also am a very realistic person. I bring to the table, so I can provide. I can hold it down. We can hold it down together, you know. And so I think it just looks different for everyone, you know, based off goals that you have and where you see yourself and what type of life you want to live. And you know, everybody's goals aren't the same. And so even in God, you know, it's not a cookie cutter type of this is the way, you know, in relationships. So I think it just looks different, like Terrie said. And you just figure out what works for you. But I would love to have a husband who cooks, okay, and cleans very well. Like, those things are attractive. Those things are needed, especially if your entrepreneur is, like I'm an entrepreneur. I think most of us on this line are entrepreneurs and work full time as well. So it's like, look, we both have a lot on our plate. And so, yeah, when it comes to the things of the house, it kind of just needs to be discussed, and whatever works for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and my husband is very OCD, so when it comes to cleaning, it has to be him because he wants it done a certain way,
Yeah.
specifically the kitchen. So
Mm-hmm.
he has to have it a certain. He jokes about being a house husband all the time. He's like, "You go to work and you take care of the bills, and I'll just stay home with the baby." And he wants to be a house husband so bad, but I'm like, "Nope, you got to go to work. Get out."
Yeah, and that's good you say that, because sometimes people do like things a particular way, like, and that's perfectly okay. So hey, I think if it works, it works. Because I like
I
cutting grass.
Rachel got
have
her stuff
another
over there.
question, and I love a man that can cook also. Rachel, I know you were going into, that was another question I was going to ask. Do you think ladies are being taught to be wives in today's world?
I definitely feel like that. I definitely feel like that. I think that there should be more of resources being offered, more like seminars, marriage seminars, or you know, uh, workshops, or engagements that can allow for us to come in and really see like what a wife is. Teach us what a wife is, not just what the Bible says a wife is, but we're just speaking natural. What is it? What are the roles of a wife? I think that we do lack that in our generation now. I don't see too much of anyone talking about, you know, hosting or having any type of seminars or women who can come and learn about what it is to be a wife. I don't see many, you know, books about it as much as as it what may have been back then. So I think it's very different now. Just how women carry themselves all together. If I could be honest, I grew up in an old school structured household where my mother was, she's very old school. So a lot of times I have an old soul, so I just pick up on certain things based, from my mother. But as far as our generation now, seeing it how it is with, how it was back then, and being around old school and seeing what our generation is now is very different. And I think that ties into, babies having babies and nothing on them because I'm one of them. Babies having babies, not really getting the firm foundation, or, the strict or structured household that some were brought up in. So I think it has a lot to do with, different upbringing. And then also, again, just not having those resources that we need to help us, understand, comprehend more what it is to be a wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely
Really?
I think, because my mom be going like so I think one issue, and this is kind of across the board, is that women like not even how to, like, not even when it comes to necessarily being a wife, but in our culture, like, it's a lot of homes are controlling. Okay. So it's not a lot of homes where children growing up get to make decisions, right? And so, like, I feel like it's not a lot of books and resources because people really don't know what it takes. I think that, and that's why personal work is so important, because until you understand who you are, you really can't make sound decisions. I think being in any role, you have to be able to make decisions, because in the African American culture, a lot of times it's do as I say, don't ask no questions. It's not a lot of teaching moments. It's a lot of do what I say. You know what I mean? And so when you're older, and it's time to make decisions, whether that's are you a good person just to even being connected to, or what are red flags, or what's okay, what's not okay, or even the roles of being a wife, like am I supposed to do this? Am I not supposed to do this? Like, people don't know because there's nobody telling them what to do. And then if there is, I'm not even gonna go with no, I'm not gonna say that. If there is even married people, what I've seen, even when people are married, they discourage single people from getting married because they're broken. Whew. Like, they're broken in their marriage, right? To say you don't have to do the work while you're married is horrible. Like, you still have to do the work. You still because things are still happening, life still happens. Relationships, it's gonna be some good days, gonna be some bad days, right? And so because I've had some married people, and they don't say it in a sense like you don't want to be married. Some do. But it's like, it's a lot of work, or like, we don't know, everything is a lot of work. You know what I mean? But like, it's the manner that they say it, and you can like kind of tell, and just different phrases and things that even married people say. It's almost like discouraging for single women or single people in general to even want to pursue marriage, right? Because even though they're married, that don't mean they know how to be a wife. That don't mean they know how to do relationships well, right? It could be straight dysfunctional. And so I think the resources and things aren't there is because people just don't know how to do relationships, which is why there's so much adultery, so much stepping out because people don't know. And so it's easier, instead of me doing the work and figuring it out, it's easy for me to step out. You know what I mean? And so so that's my perspective. But like, I think when you do the work, your personal work, and you're constantly in a healing process, because healing is not just something you go through for a few months or a year and then it's done. Like, there's always something that you're going to have to be working on as you grow and mature. And so the healthier you get, I believe you're able to make more sound decisions. And so a lot of questions that you might have once had about something, they become more clear, because then you're able to discern. And then if you have the Holy Spirit, thank God for the Holy Spirit, right? Who guides us, right? And who gives us clarity and who gives us the answers if we seek the kingdom of God first, which is why it's so important for constantly in the face of God, so that we can get the answers that we need through him, and he can send the right people, healthy people, to connect to us. So there are people out there who have gone through, right, and who do have a lot of great answers, but there are a lot of people, even in marriages, who give answers and who give advice from a broken place. And so they're not able to make sound decisions. I've seen it. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not good, And so yeah, I be just going on and on, so y'all can stop me, because I be feel like I ramble and stuff.
I've always,
Oh no, you're
after it was situations where I had listened to people, who gave me advice or counsel, and it led me, to a dead end, or, got me in bad situations. So now I just say, I won't, what's my little saying I be saying? I won't take advice from people who are not advised by God. Because that's so important. Like, you'll be taking people's advice and it'll be something totally opposite from what God, you'd be going in a whole nother direction from what God is, where God's trying to take you. So I'm like, okay, if you're not advised by God, don't try to counsel me on nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. Because I need you to be in the Holy Spirit before you try to tell me anything. a whole nother direction, you know,
Mhm.
where we're supposed to be to be. So I think it is important to be careful as to who you take, you know, advice from.
Mhm. Discernment is so necessary
Yeah.
in every season, but especially where we're at now, is so necessary. Um because everybody has their beliefs and whatever going on and everything, but yeah, you got to consider the state that they're in, and so discernment will help you be like, is this person even in a healthy enough place? Not judging, but look, I'm trying to be healthy. So if you're not healthy, if your relationship isn't healthy, this is just not your season to be giving advice. Like,
That's right.
So, ladies, did we all touch on, what did we think about sex before marriage? Should the single woman, be having sex before marriage? Should she hold off? Should she test the waters, as they state?
Nope.
no.
And I've done it, and I still say nope.
Yeah.
That's
Sex
against,
makes
that's against
sex,
instruction.
yeah, and sex makes things complicated. It is definitely against the word, but it makes things complicated.
Cloud it. Yeah, it can cloud your vision. You be thinking, oh, I'm in love, and you in lust. You was in lust.
Lust, yes.
It cloud your whole judgment.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that you all in love and whatnot. And oh, you putting it. No, no.
Hmm.
And not to even think about that. You know, just things that are out there. You have to be careful because stuff just be going around places they ain't supposed to be there, and it just.
Hmm.
Oh, I say no. I just protect yourself, ladies. Protect yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no.
Definitely.
Wait, there's man, the discipline in waiting. Man, that's man. Have discipline. Wait. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it pays off in the long run. When you can show you can be disciplined in that area, I'm talking about God will give you so much more. He could trust you.
Come on now.
He could trust you. So
Hmm.
honor him in that way, and you discipline yourself, and you sacrifice.
Come that word sacrifice. Yes.
Blessings just is. I'm telling you, obedience, y'all. A lot of stuff, a lot of things we miss because of our disobedience.
Hmm.
Our relationship. Let's just stay on that subject. Even in relationships, you miss out on your blessing because you're being disobedient.
Hmm. Yep.
I can't give you what I have for you because you're still dibbling and dabbling with what's over here, and that's not where I want you to be. And because we're so busy trying to satisfy our flesh, and what our flesh desires, God could be ready to say, okay, boom, but you tangled up in some other stuff. And
Yeah.
you're disobedient. God is, no, this is not the way I want you to go. And you being disobedient, you done missed your blessing. Sorry, it's gone. Try again next year.
Mm. She said nation. No, not a whole year. Yeah, that's good stuff though. That's how it goes. And then we gotta repeat the test over and over
Oh,
until you pass. Yeah, for sure. Hmm.
you got to be obedient. I'm telling you, it's rewards and being obedient. It's being able to sacrifice, showing that you're disciplined. That's how God gains trust. He can
Mm,
trust has for you because you've proven yourself
that's
to,
good.
to be able to, have discipline and honoring him. God
Come on.
says, honor me and I'll honor you.
Come on.
So okay, I'm be quiet now. I'm be quiet.
Let them use you. Let them use you.
I, I have me I just pick up at my pocket every now and then.
Come
And
on.
so I'm not gonna go. Y'all, I love the Lord. I love the Lord.
Yeah. Help the people for real. Hmm.
Okay, ladies, we're going to wrap it up. So I'm going to ask each of you to give, a lady who's single, a lady who's waiting for that perfect gentleman, for her husband, some advice.
it's been a long time coming, and I was in that place where I became discouraged. I just knew that God didn't want me to be married, that, anybody that tried to come along, I was just going to take, which I did. That's how I ended up married. Just take whoever, settle for whoever, instead of waiting on God's blessing. And it really took my life a whole nother direction. So my advice, ladies, it is so important. I know it's hard, especially for the women that desire to be a wife. It is so hard. Corner room, please. But I really encourage you to hold on, to wait. And it's okay to, I think personally it's okay to date, go out on a date and try to figure out what you like, what you don't like, that's fine. But when it comes down to the commitment, it is so imperative that you wait, because he's out there. I'm a witness. I'm not just telling y'all anything. I've been a woman. I'm now about to be 30. I've been through plenty of relationships. I've had a son at the age of 19 and 20. I've been married before, and it's all just been bad. Y'all all been bad. And I allow God to do the work. I allowed, it to be in his timing, and he really blessed me with a great man. So he is out there, y'all. Y'all just have to be patient, pray. And your singleness, enjoy your singleness, prepare yourself, prepare your mind, prepare your heart. Understand that, there's a reward in your obedience, in being patient, allowing God to do the work, allow God to do it. Don't do it on your own, because it'll just lead you down a path of darkness and brokenness and heartache. So that's my encouragement. Y'all just get ready, because God gonna bless y'all. Look, I'm put that on out there in the atmosphere. God's
Yeah.
gonna bless you. So be patient.
Well said.
Yep.
What do you have, Miss Cherrille? And then we're going to you, Miss Terrie.
I would just say, like Rachel said, wait, and just I would just say find, like, get lost in the things of God. Get lost in, if you don't know your purpose, like really seeking God for what your purpose is, and get lost in that. Because a lot of times you do hear anyways that one comes is when you're not looking, or you're not like, oh, where is he at, or really meditating on it. So um examine your life right now. What you're doing now is what you're probably going to do then. You're not just going to switch once you become a wife or you get in a relationship. You're going to have the same patterns, the same habits. And so if there are things in your life that you need to change and you need to work on, I would encourage you to really put forth the effort in doing your personal work, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the above. Because what you're doing now is what you're going to do in that relationship. So if you know you have unhealthy behaviors, if you know you lack boundaries, if you know you don't communicate well and you shut down when you're mad, or you go off and you like to slash tires or whatever it is, if you know you need more self-control and discipline, work on those things now, so that you will, one, be able to identify not even just the husband, but the blessings of God, and you steward it well. You steward your man of God well, and you don't abuse him, and you don't talk to him crazy, and you can appreciate the things that God has given you, because God loves his sons just as much as he loves his daughters. And so yeah, work on you so you can be in a healthy place, and that way, even being in a healthy place, everything is not going to attach to you. Only healthy will attach to you when you're in a healthy place, okay? And so dysfunction won't attach to you, and all these other things, abuse and control and manipulation, it won't attach to you, because you'll be in a healthy place to identify what it looks like, and everything. And so, yeah, like, just seek God, get lost in God, and do your work.
Mrs. Terrie.
Um, I would say be patient, don't settle, and pray. Prayer changes a lot of things, so pray for that man, and he will find you.
That's what I did. I prayed for mine, y'all.
I did too.
I prayed. I was like, Lord, I don't want to be single forever. I prayed, y'all. Like, tell God what you want. Tell
Yes.
him what you want. And be
Yes.
specific. You know what I'm saying? Be specific about what you want. He will give you the desires of your heart.
Come on.
Pray for that man that you want and pray for him. Pray for
Yep.
him.
I definitely pray for my husband. So pray for that man.
Yep, that's how I got mine. I prayed for mine, honey. I got more than what I prayed for. Ain't that something?
Come on now.
The Lord said, you think that's it? The Lord gave me more, literally, y'all. He gave me more. He gave me what I wouldn't even think to pray about or to pray for. Like, he gave me stuff. I'm like, I don't even thought to pray for this. He gave me exceedingly and abundantly
Fine.
above what I asked for.
That kingdom.
Okay. Tell y'all, that prayer is a major part of it. Y'all, if y'all waiting, pray.
For sure.
Sierra told y'all about that prayer.
Yeah, that's the only. I never prayed for my man, for a husband. I did not marry the first thing I thought wanted to marry me. And I was like, okay, I'll be your wife. And ended up divorced. Y'all, I prayed for my this one here. Oh, I prayed for that one. I worked hard, long hours, up in the 4 o'clock, midnight, out the early morning. I was up early in the night praying for my husband. I labored for that man. I said, Lord, you got to do it. I labored. I did. I labored for that man. So, and he gave me more than what I asked for. Y'all, I'm telling you, it's a blessing. I'm gonna keep. I'm start crying, so I'm not gonna keep talking. But y'all, it's a blessing. It blows my mind every single day. I tell him, I say, you know, even in those moments where we're not agreeing or seeing eye to eye, I can still tell that man I love him. And I'm not like that. If I'm mad at you, we ain't talking for 3 days. I'm telling my homegirls what you did and how you made me mad. Text messages, I'm blocking your number, everything. Like, I'm bad. With this man, the Lord wouldn't even allow me to handle him that way.
Come on.
Like, literally, the Lord, like, if I wanted to be mad at him and not talk to him, or if I wanted to block his number, if I wanted to go call all my homegirls, I'm talking about the other day, I wanted to call my mom and tell her something. We was into it, wanted to tell her something, and she didn't pick up the phone, right? And then he called me back. He picked up the phone because I guess her phone had died or whatever. So, God allowed for that to happen, because when we talked, we had got to understand. I said, oh, so it was just a misunderstanding. That's it. It was just a misunderstanding. And I went to my mama and told her what happened. In her mind, it would have been a whole nother. So it's like God won't even allow me to talk to nobody and just handle him the way I'm used to. And so I could be mad at him and I still say I love him.
That's good.
Still somebody else, and I be mad. And knowing good and well, if I'm mad, I normally be calling my homegirls, girl, he did such and such. No, with him, I could be mad at him and be like, dang, I love that man. Like, he's so perfect. So perfect. My homegirls can't tell y'all nothing about nothing, the little turns and twists we had. They don't know not a thing. Everything been peachy and king, in their eyes. It's been great. And I want to paint that picture because he is a great man. So I would never make him look bad anyway in front of anybody. But yeah, it's a blessing. I'm telling you.
Glad you mentioned that, because a lot of times when people go through things in relationships, they want to run and tell somebody else instead of talking to that person who the problem is with. You have to stay in that circle and consult with them. And how can we make this right? Because we're in this together. We're one now. We have to know how to get through this together, because we have to make each other look great.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And the thing is, you go tell your homegirls or tell your family what he done did, and that you'll forgive them, and they won't.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
They will not. They
But
will.
why are you going back to that man? You remember when he did this? They'll go down the list of things, everything he did to you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, God will not allow me to handle that man, and that's how I knew God gave him to me, because the way I've been for 29 years in relationships, God with him, and God will not allow me to handle him like that. He won't allow me to talk to him the way I'm talking to my other guy. Or he not allowing me to, go and run and tell the next person what he did. I can't handle him like that. God is shut me down from doing all of those things. Literally, he shut me down from doing all of that. Like, God is like, no. I gave this man to you. You're not gonna handle him like that. So every day I'd be like, dang God, like I'm used to doing this. Why can't I not? He shut it down every time. He shut my lips and everything. Don't say nothing. Unless I'm talking to that man, don't say nothing. Literally like crazy. I still am like, dang, this I don't know who this person is, but you was giving the good Rachel, because this ain't Rachel I know. I have grace and patience for you, okay? Literally, he's giving me the grace to be, and because he's like, no, that's my son, and you're not gonna treat him no kind of way. You're not gonna handle him no kind of way. You're just not gonna do it. And that's another way I knew that man was my husband, because ain't no other man. I was crazy, y'all. But with him, God just will not. He will not. He like, no, you're not gonna treat him any other kind of way. I gave that man to you. You're not gonna treat him any other kind of way. And he can't do it. I can't. To this day, I can't. So, yeah, I'm gonna be bragging for 2 hours. Y'all gotta get me out this podcast. 14 days about me and my man. I'm okay. I'm not gonna say nothing else. The doors of the church are now open.
Well, thank you so much for joining us again, ladies. And we had such a great time, as always. And we definitely gonna have y'all back for some more. I'm talking about like us doing some actual conferences. Rachel brought the idea to mind, so yes, this is needed.
I would love to, y'all. I would love to.
Let's go.
I'm down for that.
Hey, let's get it.
Something like
Only thing I can talk about is I can, collaborate with Cherrilleye on the single side. I can tell him what not to do. How about that?
that's it. People
Right.
need advice from people who can tell you some stuff now.
Yeah.
Divorced people can tell you some stuff too. They don't be wanting to take advice from divorced people. I'm like, listen, we could tell you some stuff.
Right.
Right.
Conference
And
is
you
something.
ladies have a great evening. We're going to get together and coordinate all that. And I know, Rachel, you got to get to work.
Yep.
Oh.
6 o'clock. Time is it? So I gotta be hopping on a little bit.
Like a few minutes.
Love you.
Let me get up, y'all. They'll be all right.
All right.